All right, so in this video, we're going to combine some of the things we've gone over recently, the intercepts, the concept of symmetry, more specifically x-axis, y-axis, and origin symmetry, and then the table of values to kind of hopefully make graphing a little bit easier. Okay, so we're going to graph one equation that has x-axis symmetry, one that has y-axis symmetry, and then one that has origin symmetry here. All right, so first thing here, we've got a quadratic equation here, y equals x squared minus 4. So first thing we're going to do is find the intercept. So remember, to find the x-intercept, we want to set y equal to 0. Okay, and then we're going to solve that equation for x. So when we get x squared by itself, we should have x squared equals 4. We're going to take the square root of both sides. And remember, when you take the square root of both sides, you're going to get actually two solutions here. You're going to get a positive 2 and a negative 2. So this equation actually has two x-intercepts, one at negative 2. So that'll be about right here, and then one at positive 2, so that one will be there. All right, y-intercept. So to find that, we're just going to replace x with 0, and that's a pretty easy one to find here. So 0 minus 4 is negative 4. So we've got x-intercepts at negative 2 and 2. We've got a y-intercept at negative 4. Okay. All right, now symmetry. We want to check the different symmetries. So remember, we just went over that. So with x-axis symmetry, we're going to replace y with negative y. So notice we changed y to negative y, and we want to see if we end up with the same equation. Well, if I solve for y here, I'm going to divide or multiply everything by negative 1, and that gives me negative x squared plus 4. So you can notice that this equation is different than the given equation. Okay, so we're not going to have x-axis symmetry with this equation. All right, let's check y-axis symmetry. We're going to replace x with negative x, okay? So when I square this negative x, I get an x squared, okay? Notice those are the same. Y equals x squared minus 4. That's exactly what I started with. So this equation is going to have y-axis symmetry. All right, just to check, let's check for origin symmetry. We're going to replace y and x both with their opposites, okay? So I get negative y. When I square negative x again, I get x squared. And now I'm going to multiply everything by negative 1. And I get a different equation than what I started with. So this equation will not have origin symmetry. Okay? All right, so now I have everything I need to kind of help me make the table of values and make it a little bit easier. Okay, so I've got my x-intercepts. Let's go ahead and plug those into the table of values. So I had negative 2, 0, and positive 2, 0. I had my y-intercept, which I know was between those two values at 0, negative 4, okay? So what I need now is to, I need a value for x between 0 and negative 2. Well, that's an easy one. We can plug in negative 1. So when I plug in negative 1 here, I get negative 1 squared, which is positive 1. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. So if I plug in negative 1, I get negative 3. And this is where the concept of that y-axis symmetry comes in. Is, remember, y-axis symmetry, if I replace x with negative x, I should get the same y value. So when I plugged in negative 1 for x, I got negative 3 for y. Well, that should be the case when I plug in positive 1 also. So 1 is going to be negative 3. So that's how we can use symmetry to make the graphing process a little easier. If I know the y-coordinate for a specific x-coordinate, then I know the exact same y-coordinate for the opposite of that x-coordinate, okay? Notice how positive and negative 2 have the same y values. That's the case because of this y-axis symmetry that this equation has. All right, so let's use this table of values. We'll go make the graph, and then we'll finish this one up. All right, so let's finish up the graph of y equals x squared minus 4. Okay, we're going to take that table of values. Remember, we had our x-intercepts at positive 2 and negative 2. All right, we had our y-intercept at negative 4. Okay, and then the other 2 points we decided to plot were negative 1, 3, negative 3, and positive 1, negative 3. Okay, so you should know by now that quadratics are going to have that parabolic shaped graph. But you can see here we use the intercepts, we use the symmetry to make our table of values a little bit easier. And you can see the symmetry using the y-axis there to help us plot more points. You know, we could plot more points if necessary, but with these 5 points, we've got a really good idea of what the graph's going to look like. So We've got our parabola going through those 5 points, and there is the graph of y equals x squared minus 4.